topic of the day is Anuvasana Vasti. This Anuvasana Vasti is also known as Snehan Vasti because the main content of this Vasti is Sneha, which could be a Ghritam or any Tailam. Namaskar, I am Dr. Sonika Nadda and we are going to discuss Anuvasana Vasti. So content of the class is introduction, etymology, definition, classification, indication and contraindication. We are going to complete all these topics in today's class only. Let's start with introduction. Anuvasana Vasti is very simple and important type of Vasti. Very common in practice and it can be used independently and with Niruha Vasti also. Okay. Anuvasana Vasti literally means that which remain in the body for some time without causing any adverse effect. This is also called Anuvasana because it can be given after the food even. It has got very smoothing effect to our colon and it really protects the integrity of the colon. Directly from Charak Siddhistan, first chapter, 29th, 30 and 31st shlokas says importance of Anuvasana Vasti. The first line is Dehe Niruhen Vishuddha Marge Sasneham Varnavala Pradamcha, means when your body is purified, it get Vishuddha by Niruha, at that moment when you introduce or give Anuvasana Vasti, that really give you complexion and strength. And why that is so? Because na taila danat param asnati kinchit dravyam visheshe samirnate. Here samirna means vata. Here Acharya Charak is explaining that there is no other dravya better than taila for vata. Why? Because the guna of vata and the guna of taila, they are really opposite. They are really very opposite. That's why taila is well efficient, well capable to manage prakupit vata or aggravated vata. And let's see how it really helps. The ruksha guna of vata can be managed by snigdha guna of tela. Lagu guna of vata can be managed by guru guna of tela. And shita guna of vata can be managed by ushna guna of tela. I'm going to read it for you. Here the explanation says अनुवासन वस्ति का प्रयोग जब निरूह वस्ति देकर शरीर का संशोधन कर देने के बाद दिया जाता है तब वह शरीर में बल वर्ण उत्पन्न करता है, वातजन्य पीड़ा को दूर करता है। दूर करने के लिए तेल से बढ़कर कोई और दूसरा द्रव्य है ही नहीं। क्यों? क्योंकि तेल अपने स्नेह गुण से वायु की रुक्षता को, गुरु गुण से वायु की लघुता को और उष्ण गुण से वायु की शीतलता को नष्ट कर देता है। जब वो नष्ट हो जाता है तो क्या होगा? मन को प्रसन्नता देता है, शरीर को धैर्य देता है, मन को धैर्य देता है, शरीर को बल देता है और वर्ण प्रदान करता है और जठराग्नि को पुष्ट करता है। ये पूरा उसी प्रकार होता है जिस प्रकार वृक्ष की जड़ को सींचने के बाद उसके पत्ते हरे हो जाते हैं। It's in same way when we water in the root of plant, it really nourishment spreads to whole plant, right? उसी तरह जब हम अनुवासन वस्ति को इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं वात स्थान में, the main content is telam, it really nourish the whole body. It give strength, it give bala, it gives contentment and calm down the chala guna of vata also. Okay, so that was the introduction of Anuvasana Vasti. Next slide is etymological derivations. Nirukti of Anuvasana Vasti, it is made up with the anu plus vas plus lut pratyaya. The Anuvasana word is derived from the root word vasa with prefix anu. This Vasti is a vikalp of Sneha Vasti, right? जब हम क्लासिफिकेशन डिस्कस कर रहे थे, वस्ती इज टू टाइप, स्नेह वस्ती एंड कषाया वस्ती, तो अनुवासन वस्ती जो एक विकल्प है वो उसी स्नेह वस्ती का एक विकल्प है विच कैन बी गिवन एवरी डे विदाउट कॉजिंग एनी हार्म टू द बॉडी. Definition of Anuvasana Vasti is the Vasti which remains inside the body for a day without causing any harm. वस्ती विच कैन बी एडमिनिस्टर्ड एवरी डे. सो यहाँ पे यू कैन सी टू वर्ड्स, दुष्यत. ना दुष्यत मीन्स जो कि शरीर को दूषित नहीं करती है. अनुदिवसम व दियत जिसको हम हर दिन दे सकते हैं वो अनुवासन है. ना दुष्यत मीन्स जो हमारी बॉडी को दूषित ना करेगी. अनुदिवसम व दियत जो हर दिन दे सकते हैं वो अनुवासन है. सो अनुवसन अपि न दुष्यत अनुदिवसम व दियत इति अनुवासन. सो दिस इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ अनुवासन वस्ती. मतलब जो आप हर दिन दे सकते हो और हर दिन देने के बावजूद भी आपके शरीर को दूषित नहीं करेगी, वह बस्ती जो है वो कौन है, वो अनुवासन बस्ती है. नेक्स्ट इज क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ अनुवासन बस्ती. Here classification is done by on the basis of dose, how much amount you are going to use. According to that there is a three type of bastis. First is uttam matra means maximum dose, madhyam matra is medium dose and avara matra is less dose. Uttam matra basti is also known as snehan basti, madhyam matra basti is also known as anuvasana basti and avara matra basti is also known as matra basti, which we are going to discuss in detail in later classes. Okay, the dose is 6 pala, 3 pala and 1.5 pala, which is around 240 ml, 120 ml and 70 ml. And on this classification all the acharyas has contributed their views and their ideas. So according to Dallana, maximum dose 6 pala, moderate dose 3 pala, least dose is 1.5 pala, which is similar to this only. Yeah. And here Sharangdara has given his contribution. He has given contribution on the behalf of amount of Saindava and Shatahva churna, how much quantity you have to use those churna in Anuvasana basti. So he said that in maximum dose, when you are selecting, when your dose is 6 palas, use 6 gram. For 3 palas 4 gram, or in least dose in 1.5 pala 2 gram Saindava you have to use, or Satava churna. So we have to remember, okay, when we are giving Snehan basti, how much amount of Saindava or Satava? 6 gram. When we are going for Anuvasana basti, it should be 4 gram. When we are going for the Matra basti, 2 gram. More practically, Sneha basti quantity is 300 ml, Anuvasana is 150 and Matra basti is 75 ml. According to Acharya Kashyap, here he just mentioned about Matra basti. He said the minimum dose should be 1 prakunja, which is around 50 ml, medium dose is 75 ml and maximum dose is 100 ml. Acharya Vangsen and Acharya Chakradatta has given very logical contributions here in this concept. They said, we understood, right, there is a 3 type of doses. According to that there is a classification, 300 ml, 150 and 75. So here they said, if you are going to plan 300 ml dose for your patient, then start with 100 ml and every day add 50. Okay, when you are planning to 150 ml, start with 50 ml, every day add 25 ml. When you are planning for a 75 ml, which is a Hina Matra, then start with the 25 ml and every day add 15 ml. Once you achieve that 75 ml, then continue with that dose. So this is the concept is introduced by Acharya Vangsen and Chakradatta in classification of Anuvasana Vasti. Anuvasana Vasti in children, the dose is according to age. Up to 3 years we can give 45 ml, up to 4 to 5 50 ml, 6 to 11 years 100 ml, 12 to 15 years 200 ml and 16 years to up to middle age should select for 400 ml, which is little higher than the 300 ml dose. Okay, so the main content of this Anuvasana Basti is Snehan, right? We have studied 4 types of Sneha: Ghritam, Tailam, Vasa, Majja. So in this context, Vasa and Majja comparatively are less in practice. The more in practice is Ghritam and Tailam. So now question arises, how we have to find out in what condition we have to think about Ghrita, in what condition we have to think about Tailam. So this is from classics only. When the disorder is more related to, oriented to Vata and Kaphaja, then this is the preference is given. Tailam first, then Vasa, then Majja, then Ghrita. But if the disorder is more toward the Pittas, diagnosis going toward the more Pittas association, then the first preference is go to Ghrita, then Majja, Vasa and Tailam. But now come to practicality. Ghrita, Vasa and Majja less in practice, so we have only two options, Tailam and Ghritam. So if the disease is more toward the Vata and Kapha, you have to think about Tailam. Disease toward the Ghritam, you have to disease toward the Pittam, you have to think about Ghritam. But in all the disease, any sneha can be medicated with desired herb according to vitiated doshas and benefit can be achieved, right? So जो भी हमने रिजल्ट लेना है, according to that we can medicate ghee or oil with the combination of the herb and we can achieve that result also. Okay, so now we are going toward indications, means what are the conditions in that we can use this powerful therapy, we can use this Vata Hara therapy, okay, which is Anuvasana Vasti. Because if you don't know indications, it's difficult to decide where you have to use this therapy. So this is very important to know what are the conditions. In those we should think about Anuvasana Vasti and we should give its benefit to patient, and so we could help people who's really getting problems related to Vata. So let's move for the indications. Specific indication is Ruksha Sharira, Ati Tikshna Agni and Vata Vyadhi. Ruksha is guna of, we know, Vata. So when there is excessive dryness, you have to think about Anuvasana Vasti. Even in those conditions, Abhyangam also helps. But if you are thinking one level above, then Anuvasana Vasti. Excessive appetite, Ati Tikshna Agni. In Ati Tikshna Agni, there is a role of Agni, yes. You can think about Pitta. There is a role of Samana Vayu. So in those, that's why it is indicated in Ati Tikshna Agni. In Vata Vyadhi, Anuvasana Vasti is indicated. According to Bhel Samhita, there are the conditions in which Anuvasana Vasti can be used. They are Pakvasya Shula. There is one more indication, that is Yoni Shula. Sandhi Graha, stiffness in the joint. Here need to be very careful. You have to look for the inflammation or swelling. There should not be involvement of Vata and Pitta. Then just think about, otherwise you have to work on that area first. Gatra Veshtana, that is cramps in the body. I am remembering that there was a patient in morning hours around 4 to 5 o'clock. She used to get really very sharp shooting kind of pain in her both the legs, and she could not sleep. I just told her, use any oil which is available in her kitchen before going to bed, and she did it very patiently for 1 month, and now she's not getting any kind of this cramps which used to come in the morning. So that's why it's really helped. When the problem is related to Vata, oil really works beautifully because guna. And pain in the body, again you have to look for Ama's condition, because if Ama involved, because in fibromyalgia there is a pain in the body, but in that condition you have to go first for Amapachana. You have to go for the Patrapinda Sweda or Ruksha Sweda or Valuka Sweda or maybe Dhanya Amladhara first, then go for the Anuvasana Vasti. If there is a Kevala Vata, you have to find out. If there is a Kevala Vata, then you have to think about the Anuvasana Vasti and Abhyanga. Ardita, Bell's palsy. Alpa Artava, Nashta Artava and Kashta Artava. In these three conditions, you can give Anuvasana Vasti, okay. I have tried Anuvasana Vasti in dysmenorrhea patient and it really worked. Because see, Shula is the sign of Vata only, and where it is happening in the pelvic area. So sthanic dosha and lakshana is, so in that way you can think and you can choose the right oil, right medicated oil, and can help people in that way. Okay, the main aim is helping people for their problems. Other indication is alpa oja, alpa bala, alpa varna and shosa. So see, this vasti also help in low immunity, in low strength, mental strength or physical strength. In complexion, if you're looking dull, and it can improve your complexion also. I have observed in my patients, it really gives shyness in their face, this vasti, anuvasana vasti. And shosha means if body is really emaciated and you feel the agni is okay, there is no ama, then go for it. There is one more general condition. The condition is like that, if vata is increased, pitta and kapha is decreased in pelvic area associated with malabandha. I repeat it. When vata is increased, pitta and kapha is decreased in pelvic area, which is a sthana of vata associated with malabandha, you can think about anuvasana vasti and you can give this vasti to patient and you can help them. Okay, that is general indication. And there is another indications which have already studied, that is anuvasana vasti can be given in all those conditions. In all those conditions where niruha vasti is advised. Okay, so that was the indications. Let's revise. रूक्ष शरीरा अति तीक्ष्णाग्नि वात व्याधि पक्वाशय शूला योनि शूला संधि ग्रह गात्र वेष्टन गात्र भेद अर्पित अल्प आर्तवा नष्ट आर्तवा कष्ट आर्तवा अल्प ओजा अल्प बला अल्प वर्ण and shosha. Condition when vata is increased, kapha and pitta is diminished in pelvic region associated with malabandha, give anuvasana vasti. All the conditions in which we are giving niruha vasti, we can advise, we can give anuvasana vasti also. Now we are moving toward the contraindications. See, when patients comes to you, now you are thinking about you are planning about the anuvasana vasti. It's very important to find out the conditions in which we should not give anuvasana vasti, because that create agni mandyata, that create complication to patient. Because this anuvasana tailam is guru, right? So that's why thoroughly need to go for all the pariksha, all the diagnosis techniques to find out is there any problem in which we have to avoid this anuvasana vasti. Okay, so let's go for what are those conditions. Anuvasana vasti should not be given in empty stomach, always after food. Okay, niruha vasti in empty stomach. It is also contraindicated in anorexia, impaired digestion, diarrhea, intestinal worm, splenic disorders and kapha-jauda roga. See, think about anorexia and impaired digestion. If in this condition you introduce anuvasana vasti, it's not going to solve problem. Okay. In diarrhea, it's the same. It's going to create complications, and it's not going to work in the intestinal worms and splenic disorder. Again, it may produce the udara roga. In piles, if you give snehan vasti, anuvasana vasti, it really gives kledaka effect. Urustamba, elephantiasis, goiter, lymphadenitis, it should be avoided. If there is a low and acute poisoning, no. In rhinitis cases, avoid it. Recent fever, navajora, no. In anemia and jaundice, it is contraindicated. In chronic skin disease also, you should not give anuvasana vasti. Whereas you can think about niruha vasti. In obesity, we give lechan vasti. But for anuvasana, you really have to think about it, which oil has to select, and better to avoid it. In polyuria situations, it can deteriorate the condition of patient. So, however, in these conditions, if necessary, then niruha vasti can be given, but anuvasana vasti should be avoided. According to Sharangdhara, in these four conditions, both niruha and anuvasana should not be given. Indigestion, thirst, anorexia and fear. We have discussed in last class. Sushruta was focusing on ajirna situation. Just if there is a ajirna, if digestion is not okay, don't give niruha vasti. That's what he said. In last class we have already discussed it. That's why indigestion, thirst, anorexia and fear. The state of mind, if there is a fear and if there is a stress or grief, avoid it. First work on that. First make patient in the right state of mind so he or she can get the benefit of therapy. Okay, patient is in so much anxiety and you are giving vasti, it's not really going to help. That's really very important, because when you are introducing this therapy, patient should be prepared mentally also. He should be in the right state of mind to receive the benefit. If patient is unconscious, if there is a psychic disorders, if there is a kapha and dyspnea, you have to avoid. Okay, so contraindication of Anuvasana Vasti. Anuvasana Vasti is contraindicated in all such conditions where Niruha Vasti is contraindicated, same as indications also. So वो सारी conditions जहाँ पे आप निरूह वस्ती दे सकते हैं, आप अनुवासन वस्ती भी दे सकते हैं. जहाँ पे निरूह वस्ती को नहीं देना है, वहाँ पे अनुवासन वस्ती को भी नहीं देना है. Okay, so that was the today's class. I hope you enjoyed the class and learned something today. I really appreciate your attention for this learning. Thank you so much. Going to see you in next class. Bye bye. Have a nice day.